Okay, this video is naming hydrocarbons, which I'd say is like a 3 out of 10 difficulty level. They're really not that hard. So first thing you need to know is that whenever you have a hydrocarbon, it's just an element that's composed of carbon and hydrogen. So it looks like that right there, the C and then a number, and then the H and then a number. Obviously, if this number is 1, you're not going to see it. And if this number is 1, you're also not going to see it. So the first thing that you need to know are the prefixes, which is your number of carbons. So unfortunately, you have to memorize this part. So 1 is meth, 2 is eth, 3 is prop, 4 is bute, 5 is pent, 6 is hex, 7 is hept, 8 is oct, 9 is non, and 10 is dec. So really all this is saying is if you see this number here and this number is 2, the first part of your word is going to be eth. And that's all you have to do to figure out the carbon part. And then vice versa, if you see eth and you're trying to write the formula, you know that there's going to be 2 carbons. And then over here, this is our suffixes. So this is going to be for our number of hydrogens. And basically all you're going to do is you're going to plug this number of carbons in for this in. And then you're going to see which one of these 3 that it fits. So say you have eth, which means that you have the 2 carbons. And now let's say that you have 4 hydrogens. So if you're trying to finish the name, so if you had 2 here and 4 here, you would plug that 2 into each of these and you would see which one would give you 4. So obviously this one, 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 is 6, so that's not 4, wouldn't be correct. 2 times 2 is 4, so this would be correct. And this one would be wrong because 2 times 2 is 4, minus 2 is 2, and our number here that we had was 4. So you just do that for every one. Carbons, you look at the number and you do here, and then for the hydrogens, you just plug these into the formula and you see what fits. And then if you're doing the reverse, you just reverse that. So over here we have some examples. So this is writing the name based on the formula, and these 3 are writing the formula based on the name. So first one you have here is C6H14. I know these numbers aren't super great to see on camera, but that's what this is C6H14. So you're always going to start off with your prefix, so that's this right here, and you do it based on the number of carbons that you have. So we have 6, so our prefix is going to be hex, so I'm just going to write that right here. And now to figure out my suffix or the ending, I'm going to plug this 6 in to each of the formulas and see which one gives me 14. So if I have 2 times 6 is 12 plus 2 is 14, we don't have to go any further. If you wanted to double check and make sure it didn't fit any of the other ones, in case you made a mistake, you can do that. But we already see that this one equals 14, so this is the one that we're going to use. So this would be, you're just going to write that green part, hexane. And all of these are 3 categories of hydrocarbons. So you can either have an alkane, an alkene, or an alkyne, but we're just using the end of those to name our things. So really not that hard. This one's going to be hexane because we looked at the number of carbons and then we plugged them into the formula and we got ane that fit 14. So now for this one, same thing. We have 2 carbons, that's going to be eth for our prefixes. And then we have 4 hydrogens, so just plugging them in over there. I know that 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 is 6, not 4. 2 times 2 is 4, so we're going to do the ene right there. And this one is going to be ethene. And then our last example for the writing the name, we have 8 carbons, so 8 is oct. And then 14, I'm just going to plug them in. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 2 is 18, so wrong. 2 times 8 is 16, so also wrong. And then 2 times 8 is 16, minus 2 is 14, so we're going to do ein for this one. So it's really not that bad at all. And naming and finding the formula is just as easy. So for this one, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start with the same part. We're going to look at this prefix right here first and ignore the back. And we're just looking at the eth. And since it's eth, it's going to be 2 carbons. So we're just going to write our carbon and then a 2. And then this one is super easy because the name tells us what formula to plug it into. So since we have 2 carbons and we have ane, we're going to plug 2 into the ane. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 is 6. So we have C2H6. Super easy, even easier than writing the name from the formula. This one we have non-ine. So we're going to have C, and non is 9, so we're going to write our 9 right here. Then we're going to plug it into the ein, and 2 times 9 is 18, minus 2 is 16. And even if you have one of these bigger ones, like 9 is the second highest that we're going to do, it's really not difficult at all. So that's non-ion. And then the last one we have is heptene, so that's C. And then since it's hept, that's going to be 7. And then H, we're going to plug it into ene. And 2 times 7 is 14. So we're going to have C7 hydrogen 14. And whenever we do this on the test or quiz or whatever's coming up, just know that if you can't remember some of this stuff, like these, you have to memorize. You have to memorize these. But if you get on the quiz and you're not sure if you're going to remember these, just repeat them to yourself over and over again until you start. And right after he says you can start the quiz, you can write them down on a scratch paper. So that's what I do for everything that I don't think I can remember, is I just write it down on a piece of paper. So hopefully this helped, and they're really not that difficult at all. You just have to break them apart, and especially this ending part, you just have to know what you're doing. So hopefully this helps.